Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. I hope you enjoy. Story number 1. The Humans Are Coming. Written by Rebel Hero. This is a Nature of Predators fanfiction and a standalone story. Memory transcript subject, Talok, citizen of Nishtal. Date, standardized human time, November 8th, 2136. We have made a grave mistake. When I say we, I mean our leaders. Our deranged ambassador, Derillium, heckled the human representative Noah during his entire plea for peace at the Federation Conference. Instead of being thrown out like any sane beings would have done, he was allowed to continue and fan the flames of hatred with his own wings. He was allowed to incite the other representatives to the frothing rage and even began a fight. A fight! In the halls of the conference, it was like everyone had forgotten that predators had no need for false friendship. Predators do not pretend to be your friend, then kill you. They simply kill you because they are hungry, or they are in their territory, or are too close to their children. The protests began almost immediately. We had all seen the data dump Governor Tava had released. The tests the Vendel ran that the humans eagerly agreed to. We watched the footage of the humans, strapped to chairs, eliciting a wide range of emotions to the footage of the Orcs killing children. Rage, fear, disgust, shock, horror, and pain. They felt pain when they saw those children die. Their brains lit up like fireworks. Many of us set aside time to read the books the humans had shared, and found startlingly deep philosophy. We looked at their cities, their artwork, their cultures, so many cultures, thousands of different cultures, for a single species, on just one planet. It boggled the mind. How did they keep all of it straight? No wonder they had struggled so much with unity. With that struggle for unity came war. Humans did not try to hide their wars from us. They documented it well, in incredible detail. Even some of their ancient wars were meticulously recorded. Not only the battles were recorded, but also the effects that had on the world. They documented good and bad, heroes and monsters. That data dump bared all for us. The humans just wanted to be seen as they were. Truthfully. There was a clip, a small grainy video of an elderly human talking about the advice his mother gave him when he was a child. When I was a boy, and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, "Look for helpers. You will always find people who are helping." This seems to be how humans operated. No matter what cruelty or tragedy, natural or man-made, there were always humans who sought to help. Footage of volunteers clearing rubble to rescue trapped animals, citizens running covered in blood, carrying their more wounded citizens to safety. Many running back towards the danger to try and save more people. One video struck with me particularly hard. A man clearly in distress, pacing back and forth outside a burning building. The uniformed men near him are shouting for him to get back. But the man keeps pointing at the building and yelling, "He's still in there! He's still in there!" Finally, the man seems to hear something and sprints into the smoke and fire. The uniformed men around the camera exclaim in horror. Nothing happens for a minute. Then suddenly the man returns from the smoke, his garments on fire, coughing and stumbling. He returns upright long enough to pass off a small four-legged animal before collapsing into the grass. The men around him put out small fires while the man cries in obvious pain. He's my best friend. I couldn't just leave him. I would rather have died." The man says weakly as the uniformed men berate him on how dangerous that move was. More recent footage from the human invasion on the Gojid cradle shows much the same. Even though mere hours ago the humans were killing the Gojid, When the Orcs arrived, the humans grabbed who they could and ran. Many human soldiers threw themselves at the Orcs to give their fellows and the goated survivors time to escape. Dying human soldiers could be seen still holding their ground to protect the goated in their care. I'm not too proud to admit that I wept openly at the footage. As more of us watched the footage and read the files, the protests increased in intensity. Counter-protests started from those in support of the human extermination, but those of us who believed humans should be spared outnumbered them heavily. It wasn't long before the violence started. Protests became riots as the government ignored us. Riots were met with armed resistance from government forces. We watched as the people were elected turned on us, treated us like we were the villains. But in the end, our fight was futile. The extermination fleet launched. The next day, we received the footage of Captain Calsum talking to a dying human pilot. The human was wounded, and it was clear that he was going to die, and he knew it. He didn't threaten, or beg, or gloat. All he did with his final moments was remind the galaxy that he was human, a person with a family and children, and that the only thing he feared was their extermination. His last words were a plea. "Please, stop this!" Captain Calsum did not stop. The humans and their Vendel allies stood in defense of Earth. It was a pitiful showing. The extermination fleet of thousands against the humans who had barely spacefaring, and the Vendel who had almost no military might. But they fought, and they lost. Even with the arrival of the Zeridians, they were no match. Then something happened that no one expected. The Orcs came. They came to the defense of humanity. They treated the Zeridians and Vendel as allies and laid waste to the extermination fleet. But even the Orcs could not stop the bombs from falling. I watched in horror as 1 billion humans were vaporized in an instant. How many more would die of injuries, or hunger, or unrest after that? I watched as the places we had seen in the human movies were wiped off the map. I grieved for the people as rage at my leaders burned in my chest. I thought of my own family, burning in the fires of bombs dropped from ignorance, fear, and prejudice. I had seen the worlds ravaged by the Orcs, the cities reduced to rubble and glass, corpses scattered as far as the eyes could see. And Earth looked no different. That made the Federation just as bad as our oldest enemy. That was a truth I refused to live with. Then, a transmission from Earth. To the people of planet Earth, who have been preyed upon by unreasonable enemy, I know you are grieving the innocent blood that has been spilled this week. You feel hurt and anger for the loved ones taken away too soon. I share every scrap of your pain. What I want you to know is that humanity will endure, and that we are not alone. Not only do we have each other, but we have friends who stand with us. The Zeridians and the Vendel fought with us, and gave us back a sliver of optimism for the better life amongst the stars. The Orcs came to our aid when we thought that they were our enemy, and we learned that their people once suffered under Federation injustice too. It is time to unite with everyone who believes in our ideals, to stand as a single species with a single purpose. Together we will rise, relentless in the face of injustice. We will bring our enemies and our prosecutors to their knees. If it takes millennia to rectify these atrocities, humanity calls for atonement, for our right to exist. When we are done, the galaxy shall know why we are the Apex. The transmission was leaked from their internet, and it filled me with dread. They would seek atonement. Our worlds would burn because of the incompetence of our leaders. I couldn't even blame the humans. but they were not the only ones who sought to make things right. We now arm ourselves to fight back against the leaders who betrayed us, who lied to us and fed us fear. The humans are coming, and I, for one, would rather fly at their side. End of story. I would quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and Patreons: Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Barky, Lord Azrakal, It's Difficult to Pronounce, Dragzoon WRE, Holly's Sister, Arcadian. Thank you very much.